Welcome, welcome. I'm excited today. We're going to talk mindset. Mindset.
Mind over
Mindset.
matter.
Mind over matter, indeed. Ladies, it's so exciting that we get to
Yes.
hear and talk about all these different aspects of health, healing, and things that perhaps we don't necessarily always think that are important. How many of us are so focused on, okay, exercise and diet, and then we forget
Yeah.
the mindset?
Mindset is so overlooked and underrated in my mind. And I will start with myself forgetting to check in with my mindset and to be kind to yourself when you're healing, especially when you're healing, right? Especially when you're on an active journey to better health. It is very easy to get caught in the auto mode of what I need to do. Am I failing? Pass or fail, all or nothing mindset. We all know that never works out. It's never worked with our clients. It definitely doesn't work when I fall into that trap as well. We have got to be a lot gentler with ourselves and not just throw the baby out with the bathwater, because little steps every day and slow and steady is what wins the race. And it doesn't look perfect, but just to celebrate what we're doing right, what went well today, what didn't go well, what can we work on? There was an exercise that was so eye-opening to me where it was like, write your younger self a letter. And I did. And it was so uncomfortable because I was just like, it was like, I didn't want to do it. And I just closed my journal and I went about my business. Came back to it a couple weeks later and I read it and I thought, oh my gosh, I sound so mean. I sound so mean to myself. I sounded like a mean older sister. And my sisters were very loving with me. My mother was very loving. And I thought, wow, it was really huge for me. So I've been working on my own mindset as well, to talk to yourself the way you would talk to your best friend. That's another thing that was an eye opener for me because I am super compassionate on my friends. I would make every excuse in the world for them, but I expect for myself, there's no excuse for that. So to be just more understanding about your history, the things you have accomplished. For me, I was always taught to don't be too big for your britches. No one wants a braggart, which I still believe, but you should also be confident in the things you have done. I think you should also celebrate the things you've done well. These are some of the mindset shifts that I've had to make personally in the last few years. What are some of the things you guys are seeing, especially with us women, right? Because I think us women, we're harder on ourselves. We expect more.
Yes, that could send us down a whole nother rabbit hole. As where does it come from, right? Where does it come from that women have to be
Yeah.
feeling that they have to be perfect or better than? Even like yourself, I call you a recovering perfectionist, right? Because we all can probably relate to that, in the fact of we want things to be this particular way, and when they're not, we judge ourselves for that not happening. But where did that come from? Like you said there, don't be too big for your britches, or some of the things that your parents may have said to you that have kind of like created this. But then where did my parents learn that from? We're talking mainly here about women, but it does apply to men too. You've got to be tough. You've got to show up for yourself. Like you can't be showing
Yeah.
your, come on, pull yourself together.
Stiff upper lip. Yeah.
Yeah, stiff upper lip. And wow, what kind of heavy burden is that on ourselves? The words that you use, whether you are physically verbalizing them or just mentally thinking about them. And I always like to use the word spelling, right? Where did the word spelling come from? The words are
Mm.
spells. So as we say these words,
Yeah.
you're starting to create these spells. We've all been there. We've probably all got our own stories here. But to just catch ourselves, where did that come from? Be inquisitive about, why have I got this feeling about myself, rather than being judgmental about why I'm thinking that way, right? Oh gosh, you shouldn't be feeling this about yourself. And then you're like, my mother used to say, just pull your socks up and get on with it. Like.
Yeah. Right. Put your big girl panties on and deal with it.
Yeah. And I think whether we like to admit it or not, just generally, women have had a struggle. We up until recently weren't having credit cards. We up and recently were all at home. We weren't able to make decisions or choices for ourselves. Weren't allowed to have a bank account, have our own money, and trying to now break that cycle of like creating worthiness, not ever thinking that we are unworthy in any way.
Yeah,
think you bring up a good
definitely.
point. I think a lot of women struggle with what you're saying. Even like my grandmother never had a job. Her job was to raise a family, which she did. She cooked and cleaned and raised a family. And now the big shift is that we still do all those things while working, And so that can be a whole separate podcast probably. But
yeah, right.
It's working through that. I wouldn't say weird. It's like this mindset
Expectation.
that's hard to like figure out because it's like we're all struggling, but it's because we're trying to hold up all the balls, right? And not drop everything or drop anything.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
I remember my mother, she went back to work just after my brother was born. That was the first time where I think like women were now being pushed out to go to work. But now, how many of us women out there are like you say there, Brittany, holding down full-time jobs? We're doing the groceries, we're keeping the house, we're looking after the kids, taking them to activities, managing the finances in the home. All of these things, like you say, juggling all these balls in the air. And it's no wonder that sometimes we can feel a little bit heavy, resentful. For us, you then throw in how we feel about ourselves, that we can't keep up with it, but our expectations are so high. How can we keep up with it long term? And then going into menopause or perimenopause, menopause, and then we are like being spun around and we're still expected to deal with everything.
It's no wonder. And honestly, I think it's a testament to how strong our bodies and systems actually are and how resilient they are, that even despite what seems like impossible demands now on our brains, on our bodies, on our day-to-day, I mean, we see with symptoms, signs, and different ways that our health can decline. But I think it's such a testament that like, wow, we still last decades. It still is a gradual slope there when your systems are all trying to pass the baton to the next system and the next cell and the next process. And I think it's just really beautiful to understand that your cells are constantly working to protect you, to repair you, and strengthen you. And we think of our minds or our personality as separate from all that, but we're all one beautiful frequency that's trying to work together. When there's dysfunction, speaking poorly about ourselves or focusing on the negative is only going to amplify those problems. That mindset almost sets off this field of either blessing or curse. So it's like you want to speak life. If you're not going to say something nice, maybe don't say it at all. And then you can work on the thoughts. The thought can manifest these things too. I know that this is very helpful to me to just reiterate that I need to speak more positivity because my girls hear how I talk about myself. And I don't realize, or at least I didn't for a long time, that I was teaching them how to talk about themselves that way, where downplaying a compliment or making fun of yourself or being the first one to bring to light something you did that was stupid. And it's like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm teaching my girls to do this. Like, that's not cool. And then, of course, if I hear them say it, I'm just like, why would you say that about yourself? You're so beautiful. It's like, like it starts the generations before, but it's a powerful thought that it's never too late to turn and pivot and do something new and better for yourself.
It's almost that moment in time where we can break that negativity. We're like, no, we're severing ties with this disruptive talk to ourselves. I mean, I find that when I'm working with clients, quite often we'll come in and we'll say, hey, what's been going well? What are we celebrating? More often than not, people will go, well, I didn't eat this, or this happened and da-da. And I'm like, wait, we didn't have any kind of like positive here. We're so easy to go straight to the negative before we focus on the positives.
Something I wanted to mention too, as I had a conversation earlier today with a client, and we were talking about what her biggest roadblocks are in terms of weight loss and being able to lose weight and get into the better shape that she wants to be in, because she feels like she's doing everything right, has been doing everything right, but nothing's changing. And I said, what's the thought process here? And she said, I just don't think I can lose weight. I don't think my body can change. And I said, if you think that, you're speaking that into your body. And so, no, it's probably not going to change. So mindset is so powerful.
So
I think,
what did you say to her? Yeah. How did you help her navigate?
I said, we're going to have to let that go because you absolutely can change. You absolutely are doing a lot of right things. We're going to make some little shifts, change some things around. And I want you to expect results and changes. And they may not be immediate on the scale. The scale, we all know, is maybe not the best source of measurement in terms of how your body is changing, but I'm like, we can get your body composition to change, but you have to believe it.
Yes, I get goosebumps. That's so powerful. Talking about neuroplasticity, you think of your brain as having these like river runs in it, and the way you think forms a path. And so when you're used to looking at things negatively, you're going to go there. As you said, Sarah, clients are just going to go straight to, well, here's where I messed up. Here's what didn't go well. Like for me, what helped was understanding that you can change that thought pattern. You have control over that. So you can change that. Your brain can make new paths. So if you can change habits, you can certainly change your mind and how it physically works. I've met clients like this that are so against saying anything kind about themselves, or even saying those words makes them just like viscerally react like I can lose weight. They just don't believe it. So start out writing it, because there is research that shows that handwriting, not typing, not on a computer, but handwriting, the way your hand writes is unique to you, and your brain recognizes that, and it speaks to your subconscious. And that's where the drive and changes happens. You start writing down over and over again, I can lose weight. I am happy with my body.
There's actually a great book, and it's by a guy called Bruce Lipton, and it's called The Biology of Belief. And it's a good book, talking in to a little bit about what you were talking about there, Susan, about rewiring the brain. The other thing that I like to encourage, which so many people I meet have never even done this, is, you know, when you look in the mirror, and quite often when we're brushing our hair, we're like finding that, goodness me, look at that, or oh my God, that spot right on the end of my nose, right? But you forget to see all the other beauty that's in there. So one of the little tricks that I like to encourage is actually go and stare into the mirror, into your own eyes, and tell yourself all the things that you love about yourself. It is quite a challenge to do it and to see how long did it take you to tell yourself all the things. And you might only get 5 seconds. But as you practice it and you're like, no, I've got a good personality. My hair looks wonderful. These can be really helpful. Or the other thing that I have done just to help me with my mindset is on my mirror, I have all of these things. You are wonderful. You are beautiful. You are fabulous. Even into my office here, on my door, my daughter did it for me. She created, and it was all from a song, but it's, I am wonderful. I am strong. I am amazing. And so even having a song, right, which you love to listen to, that has got those positive words in it, and you can sing along with it and say, yeah. Another thing that I like to do with people is visualization. Shut my eyes, imagine that version of me, and just be that person right now. You don't have to wait till 6 months. What would that feel like for me to be walking along the road, like with my 6-pack, if that's what you wanted, or, you know, that nice kind of like, oh, look at me now, like everybody's staring, whatever that might be, right? Whatever version of you would love to be, without judgment on what that might look like. No, just be who you were made to be.
Yes, so powerful. Yes, think it and then be it. And I will say as well, if you've met a truly insecure person before, it's uncomfortable to be around them. It really is. My heart goes out to them, because I know that I've probably put myself in that position before, but it's an energy that you give off. If someone walks into the room and they're confident, it's magnetic. People want to talk to you. If you don't care about all the insecure, like we all have insecurities. I'm not asking anyone to not have insecurities, but don't focus on those things, because I bet you $1,000 that everyone in that room is more worried about their own insecurities. They're not thinking about what you know about yourself.
I think you said something as well, which is important. It's like being that light. And I think I just did a post about this, actually, being that light. And quite often as women, we can want to try and make ourselves feel better by pouring into somebody else, okay, to the point we get totally depleted. But Susan, is great because you said about the energy, be the energy. And then the people who are meant to be your people will be attracted to you. The people that are kind of upset by your light will be repelled by it. And it's important to continue to feed our own inner self so that we can be that bright light and shine out there, and attract what we should be attracting, or the people that we should be attracting, rather than finding our worth by pouring in to people, places. I've seen some of the sickest people that we've probably met are those people who are constantly going, doing, being for everybody else. And then you ask them, what do you like to do? I work in the hospital. I love to care for people. And then I go home and I'm caring for my mother.
I am my work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't carve out space at all for themselves. Yeah.
It can be hard, right? Especially when we have young kids, to find that time, because you feel guilty. You feel
Yes.
guilty.
Yeah.
The guilt. Yeah, absolutely.
The self-care. Part of my specialty is helping people who are grieving, not just with loss, but with divorce, new move. It's very easy to turn to self-neglect in that mindset, because you are so overcome with grief, with depression, sadness. All those things just make you not want to take care of yourself at all. And so again, if you're used to practicing a gentle mindset toward yourself, you're more apt to understand, I've got physical needs right now that I really need to address. I need to expend some energy to get this sadness out of my body. I need nourishing foods because I don't want to get sick. Sip on some bone broth. If nothing else, don't go for the popcorn like I did.
Yeah.
Man.
Popcorn, the chocolate, the alcohol.
Yeah, the wine.
All of it. Right.
Well, let's be honest here.
Yeah. Not necessarily in that
I think
order.
falling into that mindset too, where you just feel like you deserve it because your life is hard, or you had a hard day, or even just one bad thing happened that day. Immediately, some people by 9 a.m. have already decided, oh, I'm having a drink tonight because I spilled my coffee this morning, or whatever silly thing it might have been.
Yes.
But that's your mindset. And then your mindset for the whole day is, oh, that one bad thing happened today is just terrible, So
yeah,
I'm going to let the day be terrible. I'm going to eat terrible. I'm going to make all the bad decisions, and I'm going to justify them until tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep. And the body will jump on board with that. It'll keep downward spiral in an effort to support you. So it's a beautiful thing to think that it can be either way. It'll try to support you in whatever mindset you're in.
I mean, ultimately, the word is choice, right? That we choose. We can say, I spilled my coffee, but maybe it was crappy coffee anyway, and I didn't really need it. So I'll go and make myself a cup of tea.
Yeah, right. Thanks, me.
Yeah, thanks for taking that away from me. That also brings us to a point of who we hang out with as well. So the mindset of our friends, sometimes we can choose our friends, we can't choose our family. We could probably go down a whole nother rabbit hole here. But again, choosing the people that we kind of hang out with to lift up ourselves, not that we should be looking for upliftment from others. We need to find that from within. But energetically, we've all been there where you're around somebody that's, just that Debbie Downer kind of person. No offense to Debbies, but you're around them and you're like, oh my gosh.
Draining. And this kind of went with what you were talking about earlier, Susan, but I have a friend who always says, don't pride yourself thinking that other people are thinking about you, or like worried about you, or looking at you. Like how wonderful are you that everyone in the room has stopped and they're judging your hair and your outfit. They're all thinking about their own hair and their own outfit and all those things too.
Yes. Well, and I think with women, there's an old saying that women don't get dressed up necessarily to attract the men outside. They get dressed up to compete with the other women. So
Yes,
I think there's an element of that as us, for us women. Although one of the wonderful blessings about coming into your 40s is that you just start not to care anymore about what people think.
Yes. With that estrogen decline.
Yes, it's like you finally get into that mindset, like, gosh, I wish I thought like this in my 20s. That would have been so great. It's liberating. It's not a competition. We should be here to lift each other up, not to pull each other down.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. I think as well, this is my experience and I'm choosing how I want to experience this life. That's also an important thing to remind ourselves. Here you are thinking, oh my gosh, somebody's going to notice that I've got my skirt tucked in my knickers, as I would say. You would probably walk around and nobody would ever tell you because nobody's paying attention. But I will be that person. If I see that your skirt is tucked in your knickers, I'm going to tell you.
You need to tell me. I hope so.
Paper on your shoe and you're walking out. I'm going to stop and tell you.
There's nothing worse than coming home after being out for like an hour or two and you've got like pepper in your
yeah.
teeth and no one told you spoke to dozens of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
or
wow.
there's something dangling out of your nose and you're like, would somebody not have told me this? Like, here I am. And you know that they would have been looking at it.
Yes.
Or if they didn't notice it, you're like, well, maybe they're not really supposed to be in my world.
Right. Maybe they need to get their eyes checked.
I think that this was fun and this was great. As always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment below, and all our information is included in the description. So we would love to hear from any of you that are starting to follow us. We will say goodbye for now until our next come together.